any society, spirituality and religion is the highest good, the highest beauty, the highest excellence, and it connects you to eternity. It explains why you were created and why you matter and why your community matters. Now, suppose I invaded that as they did, and all of a sudden I told you that God was connected to whiteness, and your Messiah, if you have one, is connected to whiteness, or your goddess is connected to whiteness, and your angels are connected to whiteness, and the saints are connected to whiteness, and the book is connected to white. So all of a sudden, whiteness becomes good, righteous, great, and but here's the question, the unasked question: what do you become? If
Mhm.
whiteness is God, what are you? If the spirituality of whiteness is divine, what's yours? If the language of higher values is connected to whiteness or Europeanness, what's yours? And so imagine how that system sets up a scenario where when I look in the mirror, I don't see beauty. I don't see goodness. I don't see potential. I don't see a history or culture. I see a slave. I see a colonial subject. I see something inferior. And here's the thing, it's contagious. It's kind of virological. I'm going to see my people the same way. So
Get your hands up, stand up. Detroit, New York, stand up. LA, Atlanta, stand up. Nigeria, Ghana, stand up. South Africa, Haiti, stand up. Jamaica, Trinidad, stand up.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Today's a special treat because you get to hear the immense wisdom and knowledge from my former professor, Dr. Nikitah Imani. Dr. Imani is a scholar. He's a professor. He has his PhD in sociology from the University of Florida, has an amazing background in political science and African studies. He was the former chair at University of Nebraska and still serves as a professor there in African studies. He also taught me African studies in a course called Race and Ethnic Relations. I still remember it like it was yesterday, but it was back in probably 97. And I still remember the course because he is truly one of the most amazing professors to listen to. It's a treat to get to hear him talk on a topic that has been hidden from most of us, which is our history. He is an author of many books. I'll mention two that you should definitely check out. One is Kinzonzi, Kinzonzi, is a book about intercommunal African dispute resolution in the United States. Another one is Mbongi, Mbongi. So he's just amazing to listen to and is a treat. And I thank you so much for being here, Dr. Imani.
thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here, and it's good to be remembered. I was saying that the most precious resource that you have is time. I thank you for your time in the class, and I thank you for the time that you are sharing with me now.
Thank you. It was a treat for me, like I said. So today we're going to be discussing a topic that I think many of us are still trying to wrap our minds around, and which is basically methods used during slavery to instill distrust among Black people, but rather increase trust and allegiance only to white people. It seems that as far as mental slavery, this is still ongoing. In Ghana here, I was telling Dr. Imani earlier, I was at the beach and a lady next to me with her, I believe they were twin little boys, probably 5 years old, and twin Black boys. And a white man was walking down on the waterfront, and she stops and she says, look, she's hitting her boy. She said, look, there's a white man. And she's so happy, there's this sense of being in awe of white people. And a Ghanaian expression here, one of it, it's a term of endearment. It's mibroni, which literally translates to my white person. And it's a term of endearment. That's like somebody calling you their sweetheart, their love. And so we need to understand how us as people who have been oppressed, enslaved, hung, still have a sense of awe for white people. How did it happen? And we'll go into what we can do to change, to help to deprogram our minds. So, Dr. Imani, the
All
floor is
right.
yours.
Thank you. Well, I want to talk about the fact that There's no slave shop anywhere where you go get slaves. You have human beings, and so like a table, if you were going to purchase a table, you go to the furniture store and you get the table. But you know the table's not just sitting out there in nature. The reality is that you're going to have to go collect the wood and the other things and the tools and actually put the table together. So it has to be made, has to be manufactured, and so there's no slave out there for you to go get. So you have to manufacture a slave. The slave has to be created. You did have African people and African civilizations and African culture. You have to turn that into a slave or a colonial subject, as the case may be, if we're talking about colonialism. I always say that if you're going to oppress someone, I don't believe in human beings, there's an oppressor gene, some natural impulse to oppress. I think you have to learn to oppress. And part of that learning process is that you have to have, first of all, a kind of rationalization in your mind as to why you should treat people in an inferior way. I have to convince myself that the person I'm going to oppress deserves that. I also have to do work to convince the person who is oppressed or is going to be oppressed that they deserve it. I need them to go along with it. So think of it as a play, right? If I'm going to be the person in the play who's going to oppress you and you're going to be the oppressed person, we have to learn our lines. We have to learn our script. We have to pull this script off. And I need you to play along, because if you don't cooperate and if I don't cooperate, then the performance doesn't work. So think of it in that dramaturgical way. Um, and so they had to manufacture a slave. How do you manufacture a slave? Well, if you think about it, what makes us human besides our biology and the physiological and physical things going on in our bodies? It is I like to say, soul. It's the essence of ourselves, which is our culture, our language, our religion or spirituality, our family connections, our tools, our resources, all the things that make human civilization. Every group of human beings have that, and in most cases, it's unique to them. It's theirs, and that's what makes them human. And so when you ask them, "Who are you?" beyond their name, they're going to start talking to you about their experiences, their ideas, their culture, their family, their all of that makes them who they are. It helps them define themselves and define their family, define their community, their nation, whatever the case may be. Imagine, though, if I could pour that out of somebody. I mentioned earlier the film Men in Black, which Will Smith plays this kind of FBI agent or whatever, and they need people to forget things. So they have this pen, and if they shine this pen in your face, it's a bright light. When the light goes away, you don't remember anything that happened. We had, in order for us to be slaves and colonial subjects, the oppressor put up the pen, and when the bright light was gone, we were emptied of all the things that made us human. We were no longer human, not only to them and their definitions, but even ourselves. Suddenly we had no history, no culture, no language, no religion, nothing. We had never done anything. We couldn't do anything. And so we're like this helpless entity. We become things rather than people. And we relate to each other as things. We learn to objectify each other. So that now my brother and my sister is no longer my brother sister. If you think about brother sister, that means relationship, right? That's a human relationship. The table can't be my brother. The table can just be out there. But if you think of it, when I think of a table, I think of how I'm going to use it, how I'm going to control it, how I'm going to take advantage of it. I don't think of let me unify with the table and accomplish something. That doesn't even make any sense. So that's the state we were left in. Then the oppressor and the colonizer poured into this vial that they had emptied. They poured their own version of our culture, of our history, of our whatever. And it was demeaning and destructive and void and negative. They even called many of us Negroes, Negro from the Latin necro, which means dead. You can't really have, as if we were kind of walking zombies. We had no culture, no civilization. And of course, if we have no purpose and no mission, then we're reliant on whatever it is that they give us, whatever they do for us, whatever they allow us to do. We become beholden to them. So there's no longer an opportunity for kind of equal humans to come together, right? What you have is one above and one below. And I am forever grateful and charitable towards the one who made me human. Okay, as if I wasn't human before. What they actually did was dehumanize me and turned me from a human being into an object. But I'm thinking that everything I have has come from them, and so I'm beholden because that's the source of everything. And if you think about that for a moment, I mean, even in something most basic as your spiritual or religious experience, if you think about that experience, that's the highest in any society. Spirituality and religion is the highest good, the highest beauty, the highest excellence, and it connects you to eternity. It explains why you were created and why you matter and why your community matters. Now, suppose I invaded that as they did, and all of a sudden I told you that God was connected to whiteness, and your Messiah, if you have one, is connected to whiteness, or your goddess is connected to whiteness, and your angels are connected to whiteness. whiteness, and the saints are connected to whiteness, and the book is connected to white. So all of a sudden, whiteness becomes good, righteous, great. But here's the question, the unasked question: what do you become? If whiteness is God, what are you? If the spirituality of whiteness is divine, what's yours? If the language of higher values is connected to whiteness or Europeanness, what's yours? And so imagine how that system sets up a scenario where when I look in the mirror, I don't see beauty. I don't see goodness. I don't see potential. I don't see a history or culture. I see a slave. I see a colonial subject. I see something inferior. And here's the thing, it's contagious. It's kind of virological. I'm going to see my people the same way. So when I look at you, I'm going to see you as lesser, right? Because there's a better woman there. There's a real woman. The human woman is over there. And then you're someone who reflects me, right? But reflecting me is a denigration, right? And so then a whole community is kind of something I want to escape from. I want to connect with what is good. I'm human. I want to connect with what is good, what is righteous, what is valuable. If I've been told and trained and psychologically induced to think that's not me and mine, then it's going to be theirs. And so I'm going to do everything I can to try to accommodate them. I become a slave or a colonial subject on autopilot. You don't need change for me because I'm going to automatically don the position and bow and grovel before the emperor because I believe that by doing that I have a chance, if they allow me, to engage in humanity, when all I need to do is be who I am.
Please share, subscribe, and comment below.
Get your hands up, stand up. Detroit, New York, stand up.